Hey all you YouTubers, smokers and grillers, subscribers and newbies, and sous vide cookers. Welcome to Ole SmokinSteve's. We're going to be cooking up a pork butt today for some pulled pork, and we're going to be using the sous vide cooker. Normally we got it out on the smoker, smoking it around 225, 250 grill temperature for 8, 10, 12 hours, whatever. But today we're going to sous vide it in a bath of water, and we're going to be cooking it at 165 degrees for about 24 hours. And I'm going to get this thing all prepped up and ready to go, and we're going to put it in the fridge overnight, let it get nice and happy, and then we'll be cooking her up tomorrow. But let's get this thing prepped up and show you what we're going to do. Okay guys, here she is. She weighs in about 7.5 pounds, and we're going to be putting a rub on here. Now this rub, some that I've made up here, and I'll include the recipe of ingredients and stuff underneath the description in the video. So if you want, you can make that, or you can use your favorite rub that you always use. So whichever. If you want to try something new, this is really good. First of all, we're going to take some extra virgin olive oil and put a little bit of that on this pork butt. Give it a nice little coat. And by the way, this is bone in, and I have removed a little bit of the fat cap, but I left a little bit on there. Okay. Then we're going to take some of this rub and sprinkle that on there. We want a real good coat on here. We want to make sure we get most of it covered all the way around, both sides, on the edges. Guys, when you sous vide your food, it does take a little planning, because it does take a little bit longer to cook, and that's because you're cooking at lower temperatures, which is supposed to make the meat more tender and moist. Now, normally, if I was putting this on the smoker, I'd probably inject this pork butt to try and make it moist, but in this case, I don't think I'm going to have to inject it. And we're just going to try it out and see what we come up with. So after I get this rub on here, good coat on, I'm going to put that in a bag and put it in the fridge and just let it sit in there overnight and let it get nice and happy. And then we'll be getting it out in the morning and putting it in the sous vide. So guys, be sure to stick around, see how this thing cooks up. After we sous vide it, I'm going to be putting it on the smoker for a couple hours and adding some smoke to it and trying to get some bark on there. So make sure you stick around, see how it turns out, and we'll definitely be doing a taste test at the end. So hang in there, and we'll be back tomorrow. Okay, while we've all been sleeping, that pork butt's been in the fridge getting all nice and happy and ready to go. We're going to be putting it in a sous vide cooker this morning, and we're going to be cooking at 165 degrees, and we're going to be leaving it in there for 24 hours. Now we're not actually boiling the meat. Water doesn't boil till 212, so we're only cooking at 165. That water heats up and circulates around that meat and cooks that meat. And the length of time, 24 hours, should make it nice and moist and tender for us. And then we'll be putting it on the smoker and smoking her up and getting a little bark on there. And be sure to stick around and see how it turns out. We'll be doing a taste test at the end. In the meantime, let's get this sous vide loaded up here with the pork butt, and we'll show you how that works. Okay, we got our water bath set up here with our Inkbird sous vide cooker. We got it set for 165 degrees and 24 hours. And in order to get that water to circulate around that meat, I'm gonna put this little grate in there to get that meat up off the bottom, so that water will go underneath that meat and circulate. And I found some 2-gallon bags. Okay, this wouldn't fit in a gallon bag, so this 2-gallon freezer bag, and I found it at Target, so that works out fine. And what we do, we need to get all the air out of there. And I've already done this, but I'm gonna reenact it here. So you just lower that down in the water, and that water pushes that air out of that bag. And while you're doing that, you want to have the top open to let that air escape. Okay, and then once all the air is out, you zip that shut and push that on down in there. Now this will tend to float on you because as it cooks, it's going to release gases and stuff, and it's going to get in that bag and float on you. To keep this from floating as it cooks, we're going to put a couple plates on the top there. Give it a little bit of weight. Just like so. And let's go ahead and go with 3. Okay, so now all we have to do is kick back and come back in 24 hours, and it'll be done. And then we'll throw it on the smoker. We may have to add some water to this. Some water may evaporate as it cooks, so we'll have to keep an eye on that a little bit. But as far as temperature, cooking temperature goes, it's set at 165, and it'll maintain that without us doing anything. So also, I'm going to be going out to eat. Me and the wife's going out to eat this evening, and I got an app on my phone. If I want, I can monitor the temperature and time on my phone, and also change the temperature and the time, shut it off, turn it on, whatever I want to do. So all in all, it's a pretty good system. So let's let her cook. Okay. It's been 24 hours, and I got the pork butt pulled out of the sous vide cooker, and we did a 24-hour cook without a hitch. I didn't have to do anything. Went out to 8, came back, went to bed, got up the next morning, and waited till 24 hours was up, and pulled it out. And here's what she looks like. I still got her in the bag. Okay, you see all those juices in the bottom of the bag? Well, we're going to save those. Okay, we're going to put those to good use. And I'm going to get that drained off and put it into this cup here and save that. And put that meat in the refrigerator for a little bit. We're going to let that meat cool down a little bit because I'm going to be putting it on the smoker at probably 250 degrees grill temperature, and smoke it with a little hickory. And if I went ahead and did that, put it on there now, that extra heat's just going to cook that meat more and more and more. I'm not wanting to do that because it's probably pretty much perfect right now as far as moisture and tenderness and all that. So I'm not really wanting to cook it anymore. I'm just wanting to get a little smoke on there and get a little bark on there. So I need to cool that meat down a little bit and then put it on the smoker. So I'm planning on putting it in the fridge for about a half hour, and during that time I'll go ahead and get the smoker lit up and ready to go. So I'm going to get this thing drained off, get the smoker fired up, and get this meat in the fridge, and we'll get to cooking here, get to smoking here in a little bit. Guys, I just drained that meat off and put it in the fridge. Here's a photo of all the liquid we got drained off. And while I was transferring that meat from the bag to a plate to put it in the fridge, that pork butt's just falling apart, guys. It's so tender and moist. I can't wait to tear into this thing. But anyway, I'm gonna get that smoker fired up, and we're gonna get her smoked up and try to get a nice bark on there and go from there. Okay, that pork butt's been on the smoker for about an hour and a half, and it's already reached 165 degrees. So it's back up to the temperature, the same temperature as when I pulled it from the sous vide. So when I put it in the refrigerator, I left it in there for about an hour and let that meat cool down to about 130. Okay, that way it was cool enough to put it on the smoker and prevent it from actually cooking anymore. But we've got a smoke on there, hopefully, and a good bark. And like I say, it was on a smoker for about an hour and a half. So we're gonna go out there and take a peek at it, see what it looks like, and see if it has a nice bark on it or not, and we'll be bringing it in for a taste test. Okay, let's open her up and see what we got here. Oh, sweet. Nice little bark on it, nice color. So I'm going to take that probe out of there and grab her up and take her inside, and we're going to let it rest for a little bit, and then we'll be pulling it apart. Okay, here she is. As you can see, I cooked it on this mesh black mat here. I cooked it on the grill using this. That way you could pick it up easily and it's not falling apart on you. So let's go ahead and get it off this mat. Oh wow, this thing is crazy falling apart. Look at that. There's the bone. Nice and clean bone. We're going to go ahead and shred this guy up. Oh wow. That pulls apart nice and tender. I don't know whether you can see the moisture in the screen or not, but plenty of moisture. Nice and juicy. This is going to be some good eating. Got a nice little bark on there. As Ole SmokinSteve likes to call it, meat candy. I wish you guys could smell that. My smell-o-vision on the camera's not working too well, so you'll just have to trust me. This really smelling good. This is crazy. Look at this. Crazy good. Now I saved that liquid from that bag in that measuring cup, and I was going to use that to pour over this meat and make it a little more moist. But I'm not sure I'm going to have to do that. It looks pretty moist as it is. Okay, we got her all shredded up here, and I'm going to grab me a little piece just to try it out. Get me a little piece here with some bark on it. It's nice and juicy. Here we go. So tender. Flavorful. That hickory smoke, got a little flavor of hickory smoke in there. This is just perfect, guys. We're gonna have a lot coming up. We're gonna be doing some turkey breast, cheesecake, all in the sous vide. Got a lot of stuff coming up. Be sure to subscribe, share and like the video, and hit the bell for notifications. And we're gonna have some good stuff coming your way, guys. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.